All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Masters Series. We are so happy that you joined us today, and we're looking forward to a very lively conversation. We would encourage you as we move through today's activities to think about some questions you may have for our distinguished guests. So, the purpose of this series is to share success tips and strategies with you, and we hope that you'll get a lot out of the Master Series. We're featuring Pinnacle Award winners. And we want you to keep in mind that you can be a Pinnacle Award winner too. We're going to host the Pinnacle Award, save the date, October 23rd, and we certainly want you to be a part. So before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge our board chair, Mr. Niles Dillard. He's on the call with us today. So say hello, Niles.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Niles. So we'll get started with our featured guests, Miss Jemila and Patrick Winsey. Hello to the Winseys. Thank you for joining us this morning and taking the time to share with our membership.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having us.
Well, we're very happy to have you. Yes, and it's definitely great to have you here. Jemila and Patrick were 2020 Pinnacle Award winners, and you may have seen the excitement that they showed when they won their award last year. We were very excited to have them join our class of Pinnacle Award winners, and we thought it would be a great idea to just begin to share with our membership how they did what they did and how many of our Pinnacle Awards winners have done what they've done. So let's start with just a little bit of background. We're just going to have a conversation today and just kind of touch on a few topics of interest. So Patrick and Jemila, either one of you want to start. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from.
Well, Patrick is always going to make me start first, but I've personally been in the business about 20, I guess going on 22 years now. I didn't necessarily always start in real estate sales. My background in education is I have a couple of degrees in information systems and marketing. And my journey to real estate really started out as a real estate investor. I was super bored. My ex-husband at the time was doing a lot of traveling, and I just wanted to do something to fill my time. And so I discovered real estate investing and realized that I was really good at it. And I was in my early 20s at the time. So within 3 years, we had amassed quite a few properties and realized, hey, this is a good business. As a matter of fact, we ended up doing it full time for a little bit. But I did work in the corporate sector for as many years as possible, rode it all the way to the top, to the corner office. But real estate has always been my passion. My husband and I just celebrated 8 years of our wedding yesterday, actually. And when we got together,
congratulations.
Thank you. And I'll let him share a story. But when we got together, we realized that it was, we fell in love in real estate. We fell in love and real estate. And so we both kind of got on that journey together and decided to continue and then scale up to where we are today. A few years ago, we purchased our ReMax franchise, and the rest they say is history. Pat.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking like 14, 15 years plus. I mean, I lose track after a while, but from a background standpoint of degrees in finance and technology, worked in the tech sector for pretty much my whole career, and got out maybe a handful of years ago full-time due to real estate. Full-time. Prior to that, just owned some property and kind of became intrigued with the the business, and eventually got my brokerage license as well, and what have you. So just definitely it's something that's proven well for us, and we're just blessed and thankful, and we're just trying to help others as well. So that's pretty much kind of how I started.
So, you both had interesting journeys. You didn't start off, hitting the streets as real estate agents per se. You started off somewhere else, and then it sounds like through your interest, you kind of dovetailed into where you are now.
Mhm.
So
Hey,
let's talk
Karen.
a little. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jamila.
I was you going in and out just a little bit. I didn't.
Okay, you might be able to hear me a little bit better now. Is that okay? Okay. Um, so what I was saying was that it sounds like you both started out maybe doing something a little different, and then you had an interest in real estate and kind of dovetailed your interest into a thriving business. So,
Mhm.
everyone doesn't hit the ground running being a real estate agent per se and hanging out their shingle. So can you talk a little bit about, your passion versus purpose? Because some people feel like my purpose is to be a business person or my passion is to be a business person. So, how did this come together for you that real estate was where you needed to land?
That's a really good question. I think that's a question that we can both individually answer. For me, I grew up in a household of leaders and entrepreneurs, so some of those things rubbed off on me. But my initial goal was to be a doctor. I'm a Nigerian, so like in most Nigerian households, the firstborn is going to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer. It's just no if and or buts about. But I actually did want to be a doctor. And my aunt was the first female senator of Nigeria. My mom owned businesses. So there was that bug always. But for me, I guess it wasn't something that I was was looking for. I kind of wanted that easy white picket fence life. When I discovered real estate, I also realized that I had that bug too. And real estate just happened to be something that I just was good at. But outside of that, I was really passionate about it. So much so that even when I was working in the corporate sector, I knew for a fact that I was going to retire in real estate. There's something about it that for me, it's part of legacy. It's part of anyone's life. It's the most important purchase anybody would make, especially especially in our community where we hold our wealth in real estate. So for me, because I knew that my life was to give back, I feel like that was one way to do so and build wealth too, right? So that was the passion part. And so I spent most of my time trying to figure out how to make sure that it was the only thing I did for the rest of my life. And obviously with all the blood, sweat, and tears, the thing about passion is that passion will always outweigh security. So there are a lot of people that are thinking about wanting to do this or this. It doesn't really matter. Once you tie a passion link to the things that you want to do, you don't get a what, you get a why. And what I mean by that is, how some people have to do things. Oh, I have to prospect, or I have to go make that sales call. For me, those words are I get to, because if I do it, then this thing that's very important to my family and myself will get done. If I don't do it, then I fail, and it means they fail. So I tie that passion link to everything that we're doing today. And so ultimately, because that passion is so strong, your need for security eventually dissipates. And that's how we were able to really fully transition, because it didn't matter what we were trying to secure. It didn't matter that there wasn't a paycheck coming in every couple of weeks. None of that stuff mattered, because there was stuff to be done. And so we knew that the sacrifice of giving up that security was tied to that passion of what we're doing today. And that's really what keeps us going on.
Would you like to add to
Yeah,
that?
yeah. And hard act to follow on that. But no, I've always been passionate about people in general. With my tech background, it's primarily been in as a consultant. So from that whole consultative standpoint, you're always kind of dealing with people and problems and processes and things of that nature. So to me, it was kind of a natural progression, with real estate being the platform to help people solve problems, whether it's, buying their first home or solving other problems, along the way, and getting people what they want. And, so again, with kind of having that, being passionate about people and things of that nature, I guess from a purpose standpoint, I think it just naturally progressed into saying, hey, I enjoyed, was intrigued by real estate, again, first as an investor as well, and just kind of that vehicle, and say, hey, we can help other people. And when we decided to go, from a brokerage standpoint, the brand piece, and help other agents build their businesses, and do that, that's like, this is kind of what we do. We help, consult, and we do as we do with clients, and we treat agents as clients as well. But just that whole consultative approach, it's like, this makes a difference, this makes an impact. And so I would definitely say from a passion and purpose, standpoint and linking, that's what, I really enjoy about it. So.
Well, it sounds like there was blood, sweat, and tears. There was a giving spirit, a desire to serve. And, in entrepreneurship, we talk about problem solving. The reason that you start a business is to solve a problem. And so, as you have moved through the real estate industry, I know you've come across many new agents, even new brokers, who are thinking about how can I grow and expand my business. So what advice would you give to people who want to enter into this space as far as, their focus and their drive and why they're doing what they're doing?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we currently have close to about 64-ish agents in our within our brokerage. And it's the very first question that we get. We have new people that come in and they want to grow their business. The good thing about this business, there's a good and bad in this business. It's the only business where there are no limits to what you can make. There is no ceiling. The bad is that you get to eat what you kill, right? Which means you got to get up in the morning. So just like most people in the sales business, you wake up unemployed every day. And so the very first thing is discipline and consistency. You have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent. I'll even take that back. Going back to passion, you have to have a why. And so the first thing a lot of real estate agents will want to say is like, sometimes it starts like this. They close a house and they see their realtor and they look at the statement and they see this big fat commission check. And the first thing some people would think is, oh my God, I can do that too. I'm just gonna go get my real estate license and start getting those checks. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that agent, to get that check, probably had to make 1,000 phone calls, knock on 100 doors, and she has to pay taxes and pay her broker and all that extra stuff. And she probably spent maybe 20, 30 hours with that person. So if you break it down into hourly, that person's probably making minimum wage, right? It's not, it's not as, it's everything isn't what it seems. So the reason why you have to have a why is because, when I talk to real estate agents, I say, hey, what do you want to make? They'll go, oh, I want to make $100,000. And I said, okay, that's a good number. And then the next question that comes on is why? And that's usually where people get stuck. And so my advice typically, not just for my agents or anybody that wants to get in this business, is you need to determine what you're trying to fund in your life, because that's what's going to create the passion link to that $100,000. $100,000 may not seem like a long way away, but as a brand new agent, that's about 22 homes that you have to sell that year, right? At the average price per year in real estate. So, but it's not easy. It's possible. It's very possible. It's very basic too. There's a formula for everything. You follow these steps, you get to these results. The thing about these steps is that you have to do them consistently on a regular basis to get to those results. You can't start and stop. So know your why, be consistent, be disciplined, and be consistent. Those three things are formulas that you cannot teach anybody. You have to have it in you. And then everything else will follow. Obviously, find a good brokerage that will support you in those endeavors, because there are brokerages everywhere, but you want a brokerage that is just as passionate about your success as you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrick.
No, just to chime in, I think she laid it out pretty well. And, absolutely, the why is huge, because that's what you're going to fall back on when things get tough, and you're going to make that one last call, that one last text, that one last, email, whatever it is, that contact. And I think, just having a plan, really strategizing, just kind of break down what you said before, just the activities that you need to do every single day to get to where you want to be. Whatever that is, right? So that could be, I need to touch, like you said, 1,000 people or contact this many people, but I always have to have that pipeline full. Everybody needs to know what I do. Yeah, you're not always beating people over the head with it, but build those relationships. You don't always have to want something out of it, but naturally, as people know that you're the authority in this industry, they're going to come to you. And they're going to, the people who know, like, and trust you are the people you go to first at the end of the day. And eventually, as you become, know your craft, be educated, try to learn and absorb. It's not always about being transactional. But if you build relationships with vendors, brokers, other agents, again, just like, when you talk about, like, I know who my doctor is right offhand, I know who my CPA is, my lawyer, you want to be that go-to professional. And really, and it really is a profession. I think too much we've been commoditized, if you will, in this industry, just a used car salesman sometimes. That's the way people look at us. And, we want to change that. I mean, it truly is a profession, and it's very important, so, but everything else she said, I definitely agree with.
Right. And what both of you all said it's transferable to any line of business. It's not
Exactly.
just real estate.
Right.
You all have the 64 or so agents, based on what Jemila said. There's some secret sauce in there, though. I know that there's some secret sauce. And a lot of times when we have, conversations in the business community about how to be successful, what do you think is making you stand out more than, other brokerages? I mean, you have 64 or so agents, you've been in business for a little bit and have, all the success, and you don't have to give away all your secrets, but, the competitive edge, I think, our members could definitely benefit from. So I'm not telling you to give away everything, but if you could kind of
No
fill us
worries.
in.
Bucks. you know, um, I wouldn't necessarily call it secret sauce, but two things. Obviously, I have an amazing partner in my husband. I couldn't exist if he wasn't here, and I feel like he feels the same way. I'm not going to take his thunder, but no, I have an amazing partner, and trust is a big thing when you have partners. So that's one thing, and the second big thing is, we're a praying couple, and we've always prayed and made sure that God knew that our hands are not on this bus. We don't drive this way. We don't drive this bus. Our hands are not on the wheel. And people see what they see today. But yeah, there have been several days where we've just wanted to throw our hands up and go, oh my gosh, why? But all in all, when it comes to our business, we came in treating this like a business first. It doesn't matter what your business is, real estate, construction, doctor, lawyer, there are fundamentals when it comes to running a business. Your financials have to be straight to your tax records, you pay your vendors on time, even as owners, our credit has to be great too. And I can't say that it's always been the way, because, as entrepreneurs, you're going to sacrifice some of those things. And real talk, it's okay if you have those ebb and flows in your credit, because sometimes it's all on you. And sometimes you make a decision whether or not you're going to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. Understand that you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, right? So, and I'm saying that because I feel like somebody needs to hear that it's not all perfect, right? But outside of that, the first thing is we do treat it like a business. Thanks to our background, we're really, really big on systems. So we believe in putting things in place to streamline activities. If something needs to be done more than once, it's documented and it's put on a video or whatever it is, but we have a system in play. And as you start to put those systems in place, you realize that there is leverage. When it comes to attracting agents, we were very intentional about defining the avatar of agents that we wanted. And it started with defining our core values, which the acronym is legacy. And the L stands for legacy and loyalty, excellence, growth, collaboration, community, and our agents, you, right? And so if people don't fit in that box, so not I hate to say box, but within those core values, if we don't share those philosophies, it's an automatic no for us. So we could actually be bigger if we wanted to be, but we've been very intentional about building a community of business owners. And so when agents come to us, what we tell them is it cannot be a lateral move for you. You don't go from here to here just thinking you're going to sell real estate. If you're serious about building your business and truly building your business, you want your LLC, your P&L, you want all those things, something that maybe you can sell one day, then we're serious about you. I think that's what makes us stand out. And also we're very, very technology focused. We teach our agents how to use the tools that we provide to them to make money, not just to look at them and look pretty. Simple tools or activities like doing video on social media, you get to learn how to quantify that and elevate your success. So those are the two things I think make us different. But I would say, just to recap, you know, run a business, have your mission, vision, values, beliefs, and live by those codes, right? It's very important. And for us, it's building businesses within our little nucleus.
All right. Well, she stole some of a lot of what.
Sorry.
Okay. But it's good.
being
That's
brave.
consistency. Yeah. No, I think I'll just add to that, just to stress the accountability piece of it.
Yeah.
People want to be held accountable, and they need to be. I mean, we all do, right? We hold each other accountable. But I think when you go to an agent who's struggling or trying to establish, it's okay, where are you getting your business from? They don't track anything. You got to track everything. Knowing your numbers, outside of the financials, you need to know where business is coming from. Is it from vendors, partners? Is it referrals? Whatever it is, you need to know where it's coming from and continue to exploit that and build on that. And then where's your database? A lot of agents, when you ask where their database is, they hold up their phone or something like that. And you were just like, okay, so when you're reaching out, where are you putting your notes? I talked to this person on this day, they're 30 days away or a year away or what have you. And they give me a referral. How are you keeping track of all that? It's just not feasible. So, going back to the treat it like, establish a business, treat it like a business, tracking your expenses, knowing your numbers, where your business is coming from, get 3 and 4 pillars of income, whether it's new construction, first time home buyers, et cetera, wherever your business is coming from, you need to know. So when we have those one-on-ones, which is another thing we do from the accountability piece, and sometimes we do group, it just depends on if, people are in the same, point in their business, I guess. We leverage that a lot to really help people and spar in the whole collaborative environment. Historically in this industry, my experience over the years, a lot of people don't like to share. You don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, Houston is huge. There's 42,000 plus realtors who are licensed. And we know the lion's share of them, the agents that do the lion's share of business is like the top 20%. But again, there's plenty of business out there, so sharing and collaborating, there's nothing wrong with that. So, but again, accountability is pretty much where I wanted to kind of, put in there. You just have to do that. And I think people, it definitely reveals a lot along the way, and that self-discovery, right? As an individual, as a business owner, there's self-discovery all along the way. You learn, you tweak, you do better, the incremental improvement. There's just no one big secret. Like I tell people, real estate by itself is not that sexy, right? We can teach you to sell real estate, fill out a contract, what have you. But at the end of the day, you got to have the want to, you got to have the discipline, systematized approach to it, and be accountable to yourself, to your clients. And just, again, do good business. When it's all said and done, have a plan. Go back to that plan when you start struggling, when things aren't working, you're tweaking. But don't give up. Keep moving. Keep doing the activities. Keep doing the activities. It'll bear fruit.
Everything that you all are saying is great. I just don't even have to ask questions. But you touched on something, because you talked about operations and how important that is. And how did you develop this brain trust of knowing how to run a business? Because, a lot of times we can get caught up as entrepreneurs in marketing ourselves, marketing. And then we don't take the time to sit and think and plan about, okay, how will I execute the work that I'm trying to get? So how did you form the mentality and the understanding for your systems that you have in place? And how important is sitting down and taking the time to think things through?
That's a really, really great question. And I'm thinking, as you're asking this question, I'm going, hold on. How did you, but just thinking about it, and I'm going to take a page from what Patrick said, is the tweaking and the tweaking. We have a great network with ReMax. When we first decided to purchase a franchise, our goal was to purchase a franchise that would give us the ability to that have a lot of systems and tools in place so that we could just focus on growing the business. So I would say that that investment has paid dividend for us because it kind of gave us a good baseline. One other thing that it did is it also gave us a network of people that we could tap into and ask questions, people who have been where we're trying to go and they were willing to share. So that was also very, very helpful. But let's just say we didn't have any of that. You're absolutely right. As an entrepreneur, you're going, and you're thinking that the only thing that you need to work on is marketing. The very first thing that we did is we knew we had to get our money straight. I'm a big numbers person. And so even, we started with QuickBooks before we hired a CPA and accountant, bookkeeper. So at the end of the day, so those people taught us how to do our books and learned how to read the financial statement. But in all honesty, it's not our first business. We've owned businesses before this. So there's some things and nuggets that we learned along the way. This was our very first real estate brokerage, which is a very different far cry from being just a real estate agent, because a real estate agent, you do what you need to do. There's a back office that handles everything. So we're both agent and back office, supporting all these agents and all their businesses while supporting this business as a whole. So I had to work on my business day, which was on Fridays. I didn't go to the office. This was the day that we looked and measured all of our marketing. We looked at all of our financials. Where were we? We could reforecast. Do we have enough money in the bank to pay the bills next week? If not, what do we need to do? So again, you tweak. But we made a lot of mistakes along the way too. And then we learned from that. I believe that the quality of the questions that you ask yourself will determine the quality of your life. And so you just get focused on asking the right questions. When you start asking those questions, the answers start to reveal yourself. A question like, how are we? What's the pulse of our business? What's the feasibility that we're going to be in business 6 months from now? What do we need to do? And Google is a beautiful thing. Once you know what question you ask, you can ask Google, you can ask friends. And then finally, you want to surround yourself with really, really good people who have done what you've done. And people that have been there, the saying, Carol, the 5 people who are around you is exactly where you are. You got to look at that. So you have to elevate your network and reach out to people, reach out to them 3, 4, 5, 6 times. There are people that I have been trying to get to know in this business for the last 3 years, where that conversation is just now happening. And it's a consistency of trying to reach those people. You have what I have. I need to have a conversation with you. I don't need anything from you. I need your time. But I'm also willing to reciprocate that. I'm a resourceful person. Patrick knows me. I am relentless when it comes to, networking, because we don't know everything. And if we're going to get anywhere, we need people to help us. And that's a very important component. Like I said, again, going back to what Patrick said, we will work. It doesn't work with tweak it. I always say fail as fast as possible. Do something, fail, learn, move. Keep one foot in front of the other. I hope that covers, and I talked about a lot of things, but Pat, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think just to kind of chime in, definitely being organized and staying organized. I think at the end of the day, kind of going to the whole back office piece is, there's all kind of pieces to this whole thing, about being compliant that everybody knows, but, paperwork, we want to make sure everybody gets paid. That's because we, again, just to kind of level set, we look at it, agents are our clients at the end of the day. And we want to make sure they're taken care of. At the same time, from a broker standpoint, we want to make sure there's compliance. We have paperwork, keep things organized, things along the way. Again, back to what she was saying with the different tools for this, financial systems, transaction management, things along those lines that allow us to kind of forecast, kind of get in front of problems. If somebody's not doing well, way before they come to you. So we like to be proactive and reach out as well, but we have the ability from a systems standpoint to see that. If we haven't seen somebody in a while, or things are kind of if you're getting paperwork that's not done very well, that person may need some extra training, the coaching, the mentoring. That's important. And, our systems and processes allow us to kind of see that as well. We have mentoring programs as well to help with that, and partner with them or partner with someone else as well, if need be. And just, again, from a risk standpoint, like anything in business, I mean, there's risk along the way. You try to mitigate it as much as possible, but you find what works, dump what doesn't. But there's some core things you need to have, from just financials, systems, transaction management and compliance, things of that nature. Marketing is great, but some people do it very well and they create a ton of business, but their finances are a wreck on the other end because they don't know what they're spending, what's coming in, where it's good. You even get paid on some things because, again, it doesn't tie to a transaction. So, but we've made mistakes along the way. We've butted heads. There's different approaches, and it's funny too because we have this two-sided whiteboard that literally rolls, and sometimes it's full of stuff, and we spar with each other. We have. But again, it's ongoing. It's ongoing. There's things you run across you've never seen before. And, but I think the big thing is just to, again, stay organized, revisit your numbers every month. We do some things daily, but definitely regularly know what's going on in your business. Be in your business, plain and simple.
And the other thing I was going to add is it's not just me and Patrick, right? I think a lot of folks sometimes may be scared to hire help. Help is important. Like start with an admin or start with a virtual admin to take a lot of the mundane things off your plate, so you can have some time to really think and look at your business and visualize. Entrepreneurs need plenty of time to visualize their business, where they want to take it, what they want to do. And a lot of times we just don't have enough time to think, let alone do that piece of it, right? Because we're so busy juggling all these balls in the air. So, if you're at that point in your business, it's time to bring somebody in to help you. Sometimes it's just one or two things. Sometimes it's the bookkeeping or the books. Sometimes it's just returning emails. Sometimes it's filling orders, that sort of thing. But you need someone in your business to be able to do that. And there are many resources that you can tap into, places like Upwork or whatchamacallit, that's my train of thought. Anyway, you can get a virtual admin from, I'm sorry. And then as you elevate your business and as you do more and more things, then I'm sorry, I'm in the office today. There are a bunch of agents outside. They're trying to leave, and I'm trying to look up and say bye. But anyway, just get somebody in your business to help you with certain things that you don't necessarily like doing. And so you can free up some time. Time is way more important in this business than money. In any business than money. You need more of it. And as an entrepreneur, you continuously seek more time to do more stuff.
Thank you for that. Very, very wise words. And, when you talk about mentorship and getting assistance, you all are involved in several different organizations and groups. Can you speak about how your affiliation with the organizations that you're with has benefited your business?
Well, we're having a conversation now. I'll start with GHBC.
You are.
We've been very inactive members on and off, and we made a pact. We made an intentional decision. Might have been a couple of years ago to make sure we were very consistent in our presence with the GHBC, which obviously paid off a lot sooner than I thought it would. I was one of the women selected for the Share the Mic and the Money Now, which was excellent. Just amazing, the opportunities in that program by itself. And most recently winning the Pinnacle Award, which for me was a huge blessing. Obviously, by my reaction, you could tell that it was something that we really wanted. It had been on my vision board for over 10 years, because the first time I attended a Pinnacle Award, I had this vision that one day we would be up there. And I mentioned it to my husband at the time. We were talking. We hadn't even started dating. Not knowing my husband to be at the time, I guess. We were just getting to know each other well. But so to have that happen for us was just an immense dream come true, considering everything that has happened prior to just life in general, right? And now to co-chair the Pinnacle Awards this year, it's just blessing on top of blessing. And from a business perspective, I mean, it's helping me grow as a leader. And from that standpoint, and obviously the exposure is immense, and we've taken full advantage of that. I currently chair the Fort Bend Political Affairs Leadership Group for the Houston Association of Realtors, and I also chair the Fort Bend Networking Group, which exposes me on a monthly basis to several realtors all over Houston. I get an opportunity to present myself without having to sell myself, and that attracts agents to our office. At the state level, I'm a trustee for the Texas Real Estate Political Action Committee, and so my role there is to work with my group. We're several trustees. I'm one of three that represents Houston. I'm sorry, one of five that represent Houston, and no, we interview and we decide on funds that would go to candidates that support private property rights, essentially. And then there are a few others at the national level. I sit on the federal level. I sit at the federal technology policy committee. So I'm going to stop there because my husband already tells me I do too much. But all of these are great ways to enhance our business. I believe it gives us the good the visibility that we get today. It's painstaking work, but I have a lot of fun with it. I think I stopped. I'm gonna stop there. I think there's more, but those are the ones I'm gonna know before I give my husband a heart attack.
Yeah, she left out the MLS committee and technology committee at HAR. But as you guys see, who does all the real work around here? You know, when she
right. No.
I'm joking, but no, I think we're definitely grateful to the GHBC and NARAB and HBREA. We've definitely benefited from relationships and enjoy that partnership and initiatives, definitely dear to our heart, the housing initiatives. And so we're definitely for that. And I'm also part of the RMG collective, the GENTS group, where we get together and do various activities that help further business, if you will, within the real estate space. So partnerships are important. I definitely think giving back in any form, using your time, your talents, and resources. We've been blessed with. We're definitely fortunate to do that. So I'm definitely grateful.
So getting involved in associations, it sounds like you had a strategy and a plan for each one that you joined, and worked your plan once you got into the organizations.
Well, yeah, and you always. I think anytime you have a chance to have a seat at the table, right, and be a part of the discussion, not just have a seat, but actually be able to, give input. Like you've heard before, you don't want to be the meal, right? If you don't have a seat at the table and actually being a part of it, you don't get to help make decisions or influence decisions. So access is always it's great to have. So
absolutely. Just a few more questions before we get into our question and answer piece. A lot of our businesses, unfortunately, didn't make it when the pandemic started. So, and I see we lost Jemila, but hopefully we'll get her back soon. Oh, there she is. Okay. What did you all do to keep your business alive during this COVID period?
Yeah. You want me to take that one first or give you a break?
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
No, I think the big thing initially, like everybody else, we kind of looked at each other and say, okay, what's going to happen? Because again, that's the first thing from a leadership perspective, and I was talking about the burden of leadership, agents come to you and say, okay, what's going on? And, what's going to happen? It's like, well, we don't know, but at the end of the day, we can control. So we reached out to everybody, make sure everybody was good. And then we pivoted, just like a lot of people, to more of a, like we're doing right now, just more of a remote technical setting initially, and just, tried as much as possible to keep everyone engaged and to not just go into this mode of, hey, let's get, I use the word lazy, but just let's not get
from the hole and hide somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Check on your clients, reach out, make sure everybody's okay. Make sure you guys okay. Do you guys need anything as much as we can? But at the beginning, real estate was not deemed essential, believe it or not. So I know that Jemila had attended some meetings at the state and local level and at the county level virtually to help make that case. And then it was deemed essential, which we were eternally grateful for sure. But I think the big thing is we definitely try to keep everybody engaged. In the offices, it was important to make sure that, they were kept clean and what have you, but we didn't do any group settings. We wanted to be responsible. We wanted everybody to feel safe, and, people have different philosophies on an approach, but I think first and foremost, safety was first, right? And essentially it was just, hey, we met regularly. We opened the forum. It was literally, every day at a certain time, we said, hey, for the next 2 hours, we're just going to leave this open. If you guys need anything, reach out. It didn't have to even be real estate related, because again, there's some people, they don't live with other people. This whole, bubble concept, there's some people who are literally just scared and they were there by themselves and they just needed somebody to interact with. So we wanted to be as much as we could to everything to everybody, I guess, if you will. But I think, where we felt like we needed to cut costs, we did that. You have to be willing to make that decision, because again, it's about surviving. It's about being able to, get through the month and see the next month. And, fortunately, some places, thrived in this industry during the pandemic. Some industries didn't, and I just, it's one of these things where, we just try to be real intentional about just engagement. So I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, we sucked everybody into a virtual vortex and immediately started putting processes and policies in place to make sure that all the agents stayed productive, and understanding that this is scary for everybody. We're just beginning to maneuver and navigate through this. We talked every day, like Patrick said. I think the most important thing was just making sure that agents stayed safe throughout the entire process. We did shut down our offices for a few months, and we're actually just now getting into business as usual as of the last few months. But it happened to be one of the best years we've had in the business, ironically. And so, yeah, it was very important to us to make sure that if they want that our agents stayed in business. Now, there were some who didn't. They just didn't feel comfortable leaving the house, and that was okay. We tried to make provision as much as possible for those folks as well. But for the most part, just like every business, we pivoted very, very quickly. It was instant. But the good thing is that we also run a very tech-centric brokerage. And even though we have a brick and mortar, we really could operate virtually if we wanted to.
And that was key at this moment. And
really,
when you think about any type of disaster,
yeah,
being disaster ready is key. And the tech savviness seemed to fit you at this moment. So kudos to you for that. So here's the burning question. I know there may be some people on who want to know, how do you all make business and marriage work as partners?
Ooh. That's a good question.
You can give us the short answer. I know you can.
No, I mean, yeah.
Intention. Go ahead.
No, I think that it's not always easy. We're not always good at it. There's some days where we laugh and we say, we were supposed to not talk shop talk at all, and we've been doing it for the last hour. We just want to have a date night and have dinner, and you're talking about a transaction, or do you see so-and-so's email, or an issue that an agent may be going through, or what have you. And it's so natural to do that because we're with each other most days. Some days we divide and conquer, but most days we are together in the same place, even though we may not see each other for hours at a time, or what have you. But it's you have to, again, the word intentional is huge in our life. You have to decide, hey, at some point, family time, us time, and
Yeah.
just focus on us, period, and don't bring up the office. But again, as an entrepreneur and serial entrepreneur, it's always stuff in the back of your mind
Yeah.
that's going on.
Exactly.
So
The truth is that our business is our lives. I mean, I think we've just accepted that. It's not very easy. I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's definitely not easy. There's a very high divorce rate with couples that are married and working together. We've experienced it. 90% of the couples that we started our journey with are no longer together, and we've made that pact that that's just not going to be us, and would walk away from everything first. And would we? I don't know. The question is, but it's good to have that pact. But like Pat said, we try to find pockets of date nights. So sometimes it could be a 20-minute, let's just go to the patio, grab a glass of wine and just talk for the next 20 minutes and nothing to do with work, and then go back to talking about work. Or let's just leave, now before we change our minds to go somewhere.
Right.
But I get to do this with my best friend, so it doesn't necessarily always feel like work, but intention. There's plenty of intention behind having to spend quality time together and make it work. This is both our dreams, and so that also makes it easy for us because we're both passionate about it.
Well, thank you for that candor. We appreciate that because we know
Yeah.
that there are several businesses within our chamber and out in the community that are run by a team of
mhm.
partners called husband and wife. And we certainly want to see those marriages survive business where we certainly can. So now we have a few minutes to take maybe a couple, 2, 3 questions. So if you have any questions, please place them in the chat. And our Director of Operations, Erica Hubbard, will call on you. So do we have any questions in the chat? Well, while everyone's thinking, what's next for you all?
Good question. Do you want me to go or you want to take
Please.
it? Okay. We're looking to grow. Well, we'd love to hire on very talented business professionals in this business. We're barely scratching the surface on our growth strategy. So anything from, mergers and acquisitions and just bringing on agents. We want to do a lot more in our community. Our goal is to continue to serve our community. Over the last 3 years, we've been able to put almost 2,000 people in homes, and we just want to continue to do that. We want to be intentional about building Black wealth as well. That's something that's very, very. Hey, Courtney. Courtney's one of my mentors. I love her to death. I just saw her name. That's what we're just focused on. This business for us is more than just a business. It's a calling. And so we definitely want to be able to share as much and impact as many people as possible through this platform.
Excellent.
I see a question that says, how should, so from Brandy G, how should an agent find a good mentor or business coach to help ignite their business?
That's a good question. I would say, have a set of things that you want to accomplish. My motto in life, I have two. One is seize the day because I love to have fun, so I work hard and play harder. The second is get 1% better every day. And so in that, what you want to do is you want to define the things that you want to accomplish. Every coach and mentor has a different niche. Some may have a niche where they focus on internet marketing. They could be an internet marketing coach. Some would be a YouTube coach, so on and so forth. So to find the things that you want to accomplish in your business, and then look for the people that are very successful at it. And if they have a coaching program, great. If they don't, see if they'd be willing to coach you as well. But start by defining the things that you want to accomplish, but don't go general. It's so easy to find a general real estate coach to tell you one or two things, but you still don't accomplish anything. And at the same time, when you are with the coach, make sure you're measuring what you're accomplishing. There should be standards, performance standards set, results from that relationship, excuse me, that you measure on a monthly basis. And if you're not getting that from the individual that you're paying your money to, then you may want to reevaluate your relationship.
For sure. Yeah, definitely just align your, I guess, vision of what what you're trying to accomplish and what their offering is. Because again, just like some of our great friends who are attorneys, they come out of law school, a lot of them are general. They handle everything from tickets to divorce to other matters, and then slowly they become, oh, I'm family law, I'm criminal, so you definitely want to find those two or three areas where you really want to focus on and grow, and find somebody who's good at that, and interview them, talk to them, ask them questions. And if you guys vibe, if it feels good with them, definitely they should have no problem with having that trial basis, and you guys working through, and again, like you said, have measurable metrics for standards to what we meet milestones. So
Yeah, and I'm a coach, so if you're looking to speak to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. Shameless plug, but
Well, we're about business, so it's no
Yep.
problem. And Patrick, you touched on something when you said interview. I'm going to recommend a book that can be used across any field. It's called Guerrilla Tactics for Finding the Legal Job of Your Dreams. And I'm an
Nice.
attorney, but it has all kinds of information in it about mentorship and so forth. So it's a great book. It's a great read, Guerrilla Tactics for Finding the Legal Job of Your Dreams. Now, just saw one more question in the chat that Erica about leads.
Okay.
Besides referrals, what are some of the ways that you generate, it scrolled on me, high quality leads? I think it scrolled before I finished, but yeah, basically outside of referrals, how do you generate high quality real estate leads?
You want me to answer that?
I mean, you can. I mean, if you want to. Or I can.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were getting ready to say. You know what? Referrals obviously is the number one way to generate leads, but you got to meet people where they are. A lot of leads are being generated online, and it's not that expensive. I'm not talking about going to spend a whole bunch of money on leads, but when you put yourself out there and you really market yourself, and their tactics, obviously we don't have enough time to go through it, where you become omnipresent, hyperlocal in your community, people get to see you, they get to know you, they get to like you. And if they know, like, trust you, they will buy you, right? We all know this, it's sales 101. And so building relationships with your online crowd is the key though. I don't believe in the whole, give me a lead, let me go take care of them, and then let me just go ahead and drop them. I believe that if somebody reaches out to me from the internet, then I have an opportunity to build a relationship with them offline, even though I'm still marketing to them online. Outside of that, just a few lead referral sources. Obviously, your sphere of influence, but there is a method to where you can market to your sphere of influence where you're the only person that they're thinking about when they're thinking about real estate, period. We have very loyal clients that they have plenty of friends in the industry and they will never go work with anybody else. That's intentional. That's a strong relationship. Obviously, attorneys are a great way to generate leads as well. So build relationships with people that are outside of your community, that are outside of your business, but are in professions, attorneys, lawyers, doctors, engineers. These are people that have communities of their own. You want to build relationships with them and make sure that you're top of mind when they're getting ready to retire, send you business as well. Seminars, speaking, being involved in organizations that's not just real estate related will expose you to people. And then go outside of Houston, build relationships with realtors that are outside of Houston. as well, because they turn into referral checks if they know who you are. So just so that's just an example.
Yeah, and I think it adds to financial services. You know, we're in tax time. You have CPAs, wealth managers. I mean, we've gotten business from all kind of places. But I do definitely think kind of your earlier point about the whole digital space. Creating your own leads, if you will. It's not like some of these other sources where 12 people are chasing the same lead, and of course the money's in the follow up. A lot of leads get wasted because agents don't continue to follow up. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. I just saw something about here.
8 or 10 times, but that's what they do. The great ones, they continue to follow up, and they're very persistent. We've had people who've been following people for like a year before they bear fruit. But again,
yeah, exactly.
System. It goes back to the system and the behavior and activities. A lot of people, I call them once or twice, I texted them, and they just throw it away. It's
yep, exactly. I have a YouTube channel where I do some coaching moments, and I put a video out every week. I just released one. It's about to be released, called the 30-Day Rule. If you've ever read this book, if you're in the business, any business that sells, The Fanatical Prospecting, it's by Jeff Blount. It's a really, really good book. It talks about how to prospect. And in that book, he talks about the 30-day rule, which is basically the fundamental rule in real estate sales. Everything you do, this 30 days is going to determine the next 90 days of your business. So you can always tell if your business is going to be successful, right? Just on what you do off of this 30 days. And so at the end of the day, you have to consistently do your 30 days to be able to predict and budget your income for the rest of the year as well. Let me see.
They asked for about CRM. What's the best one? And we use.
And let me just jump in because we're up against.
I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we're about out of time, and I'll let you answer the CRM, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
We use Follow Up Boss, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We use Follow Up Boss. Our organization our franchise does provide one free to all of our agents. We've just used Follow Up Boss for a long time. But the best CRM to use really is the one that you use. There is no best CRM out there. The CRM is only a tool if you don't use it. But if I love Follow Up Boss because it's also a good accountability tool. And the book is called Fanatical Prospecting.
Fanatical Prospecting.
Fanatical Prospecting.
So let's get that in the chat if we could. The Fanatical Prospecting and Guerrilla Tactics for Finding the Legal Job of Your Dreams. And if anyone has any other questions, feel free to shoot an email to info@ghbcc.com, and we'll get those questions over to the Winseys. Again, info@ghbcc.com. Well, you all, we could probably go on for another hour with Jemila and Patrick. And we thank you both for joining us today for our Master Series. This is our first one and our inaugural one. I think we would all agree that we've had the best guests to kick this off. And yes, Jemila has graciously agreed to be a co-chair of our Pinnacle Awards, which is coming up on October 23rd. So we want you to save the date. And hopefully one day we can see you in one of these master seats. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to Jemila and Patrick. We'll certainly get your questions answered, and we will see everyone next time on The Masters. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.